Welcome to Joidala Fashion Guide. Today's video, we are going to be making a kaftan bubu with puff sleeve and with a slit in front, an opening in front, or a slit in front. Now, the amount of fabric that you need for this is between 3.5 to 4 yards, depending on your full length. The full length of this customer is 58. I've added 2 inches, so that I'm making 60. So I have a total of 120 yards, 20 inches. Okay, and then you fold it long first before you now fold it into 2. So that is what I have here, so that you'll be able to draft the back and the front neckline separately. Okay. Now, to know your measurements, right now I have a total of 30 inches on fold, but I'm going to be making use of 28. And how did I arrive at that? The shoulder divided by 2 is 7.5. So you divide your shoulder by 2. Then from there you determine your sleeve length. Okay, from there my sleeve length is 14 inches, and then from there you need some extra allowance to be able to create the puffness. So I add 6 inches to that. So that is how I've come about a total of 28 inches. So on this shoulder line, this beginning line, I will mark my 28 inches because I also need 1 inch to create the elastic casing. So everything is 28. So I mark 28 there. Okay, so the difference here is about 2 inches. So, having known what you are going to use, the next thing now is the neckline. I'm going to be using a neck width of 3.5 inches. The neck width is 3.5. And then the back neckline is 2 inches, while the front neckline, I'll make use of 3 inches. I'll also make use of 3.5. So I have 3.5 by 3.5. And then it's going to have a slit in front. It's going to have an opening in front. Okay, so I will not be cutting out the front now. I'll cut it out when I want to sew the design in front. That is when I'm going to cut out the front neckline. So for now, we'll cut out the back 2 inches and then the front 3.5 inches. So this is the back and then this is the front. I'll just go ahead and cut. I'll cut the back together first. So that is for the back. And then I lift it up. So that is why I had to fold it the way I folded it, so that I'll be able to separate the back and the front. So now I recut the front. So I'll be creating the front opening later. The front slit is going to be about 4 inches. So we'll do that when we are ready to sew. So having done that, I can go ahead and continue marking the other marks, or you can, if you want to change the folding to have the front and the back, you want to turn the folding, then you can go ahead and do that before you continue, but I will just continue with what I have here. So from the shoulder, I'm going to mark shoulder to under bust. That is where the puff sleeve is going to end, from shoulder to the under bust, which is 14.5. So you can always determine where yours will end. And then you check the difference here. You check the difference here and also repeat it here, so that you can have a straight line. So that's a straight line there. So the next thing I want is to get to mark the shoulder to the waistline, so that we can know where to put our pocket. So I've marked shoulder to under bust, and then shoulder to the waistline, which is 18 inches. And then from there, I'll mark the hip line. So from the waistline, just mark 8 inches, 8 or 9 inches, depending on your measurement. So from shoulder to the hip line, I have about 27. So I'll repeat the same this way, so that I can have a straight line. So I'll roll that. So this waistline will help us to mark the pocket. So on the hip line, this is the under bust line where the sleeve will stop. So let me just roll that out. So this is the under bust, this is the waist, and then this is the hip. On the hip line, I'm going to put in the hip circumference measurement, the hip divided by 4, and I have 12. And then you add your ease allowance, so you can add 4 or 5 inches to that. So I'm going to add 5 inches for ease, and then 1 inch for seam. So I'm having 18 inches. So I go ahead and mark the 18 inches all the way down. So this kaftan is straight, there is no design at the side, so I'm just going to connect that with a straight line. Just cross-checking my measurements. So I'm going to come back to this. So I'm going to connect the armhole line, the armhole. So to do that, the 18 inches that I have here, I'll repeat it here. At this corner and come out by 1 inch, so I can create the curve like this. Okay, so that is for the armhole. So I can go ahead and add my seam allowance, 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to be cutting along this line, straight down. So that is just pretty all for, so you can go ahead and cut out our pattern. So I finished cutting the male fabric. We are going to be using this to create the design in front, and we are going to put an underlining on it because it has holes. So I'm going to use this piece of lining to explain how I'm going to cut the neckline. Okay, so the neck, this design is going to cover part of the back and then the front. To cover the shoulder, then the front, then the middle of the front, all the way down. So the wideness of fold is going to be 3 inches. I'm using 3 inches as the wideness. So when you open it up, that will be 6 inches. But when we are cutting, we are going to add seam allowance to that. So we are going to be cutting with 4 inches so that we'll be able to have seam allowance to fold the side. So you can use 4 or 4.5 inches. So I'm going to use this lining to demonstrate how I'm going to cut on that. So I place this under like this, and then I cut out the neckline. This is the back, this is the front neckline. like I said before, we'll not be cutting the slit open now until we are ready to sew. So trace out the neckline. So this is what we have. And then the wideness of the shoulder, I'll use 4 inches so that after folding it will be 3.5. So let me mark the midpoint. So this is the middle. So here is the middle. So I'll mark 4 inches. I hope you can see it. I'll mark 4 inches. And then here, to create that front design, I'm going to be having something like this, and then it comes out. So mind you, this will be long. This is going to extend to the full length. So we are going to be having something like this, and here will be cut open. So it's going to be like this. Okay, so the back, and then here we extend down. So that is how I'm going to cut this, and then I'll cut an underlining for it as well. So we are going to start with the neckline. So this is the front design after cutting it out, and I've sewn the interface of it. So just sew the neckline. Now when you want to place, you place the right side of the front design on the back side of the pattern, so that after sewing we are going to flip it in, and then the wrong side will now be facing the right side of the main fabric. So I'm also going to create a slit here, so I'm going to sew first before cutting it open. So I'll sew round like this, then sew here. Then this curved part, I'm going to notch it, then I will retrim this neckline inside. So I'll do that and show you. So this is what it looks like after sewing the neckline. So you turn it to this side, then you go ahead and pin it all around. So I'll pin it to the end. So I'm not going to be putting slits in front again because of the kind of fabric that this mirror face is. Okay, so if you want to put a slit, you flip it to, after pinning it down like this, you flip it to the wrong side, and then you must have ironed it to show the crease line like this. So the next thing is to determine how open your slit is going to be. You can use 18 inches or 16. You can even use 20, so depending on your choice. So assuming I want to use 18, I'll go ahead and mark 18 like this, and then I'll take my scissors and cut it up to this point. After that, I will flip it over again, then I will remove the pins. After removing the pin, I will take this side after removing the pin, assuming it was here I cut, then I'll have to turn it. I have to turn it like this, turn this other side like this, and then stitch up to the slit point, so that by the time after stitching I will now flip it over, then the seam will be inside. So that is how I will do the slits. I will also do the same to the other side. Then after that, then you smoothen it back and then pin this side down again. So we are going to be stitching the edge down with about 0.25. So you can use 0.25 or ½ inch depending on the seam allowance I have left. This mirror face, you need to trim them away from the edge because you will not be able to fold it properly. If the mirror face is by the edge, you won't be able to fold it, so you have to trim them away from the edge. You see, when I was doing this, I had to trim this. That was why I was able to fold. So but your opening is going to be like this, so I don't want to bother myself with that. I'll just leave it closed, but we'll still do the puff. So to stitch, you just fold in the edge with 0.25 and sew. That's how I'm going to sew all around. So once you are done with that, it's remaining the sleeve, the side, and then the down. You see, the kaftan is not so difficult. So for the sleeve area, we are going to be putting an elastic band. So you are going to create casing for the elastic. This is ½ inch elastic. So you fold small with ½ and then you fold again. Okay, and you fold like this and then fold like this. Okay, so that after stitching you will now create the opening. So you fold with 0.25 first and then fold with 0.75 like this, then you now stitch. So you first of all use your pin to hold it down to the ends, after which you stitch. So this is where the elastic, we are going to pass the elastic through. Okay, So I'll come back to show you what the elastic casing looks like, and then we close up the side, fold it down, and then we are done. So we are finished sewing the elastic casing. So we'll use a safety pin to pass the elastic through it, but we'll do that after joining the side. So the next thing now is to join the sides together. So we go ahead and pin from one end to the other. So we'll be sewing the sleeve with half inch, then the side 1 inch. So when we are done with joining the side, we are going to fold the down part. You check your full length and then you fold it 1 or 2 inches depending on how much you have left, and that will be all. I'll show you the final look on the mannequin. So here is the final look of our kaftan with puff sleeve. This is Joidala fashion guide. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, share my videos, and let me know what you think about the kaftan. This is Joidala fashion guide.